Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. Well, it's time to do another worm bin check-in, and I'm going to do this a couple days early so that we can try to catch the worms in action as we compare the results from the blended food versus the unblended food. And for this week's coming feeding, I got something totally new I'm going to give them. So let's go take a look.
Let's check on these worms and see what's going on. I see right off the bat we got some more beans sprouting here. So the bin is creating its own food in a way. The beans will help promote microbes growing around their roots, and then as I pull these out, they'll decay and become worm food. So let's first check on the blended mix over in this area. Since I'm actually doing this a few days early, I'm hoping to catch the worms in action here. And sure enough, there we go. Got some nice worm activity. Although the food is almost gone, there's still a little bit left. And the worms are pretty busy in that spot, so let's leave them alone over there. And let's go on to the unblended food. Okay, let's see. Yep, plenty of worm activity in this area too. Now the blended food, as you might expect, is definitely breaking down much faster. But there is a lot of worm activity in this spot. And I'm not sure how well the camera's picking some of these up, but there's a lot of small worms in this area. Another bean sprout there. So that is looking pretty good. Now I got something a little different I'm going to do today as far as the feeding goes. We'll go ahead and cover up the blended food there and then create a spot right here in the middle. Now obviously the worms aren't done eating the food I already gave them, but since I'm in the bin doing stuff, I'm going to go ahead and give them this feeding. So what I did is I got like a butternut squash that didn't finish maturing out in the garden because it froze. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this up a little bit. Now you can see this thing is definitely not mature in any way. And it did freeze outside, and it was probably frozen for at least a couple days. But since I brought it into the house and let it thaw out, I thought, hey, let's go ahead and feed these to the worms. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that right here in the center. Now I don't expect this to get eaten anywhere near as fast as like the pumpkin does. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? It's just seeing how the worms react to different foods and how quickly they can go through it. Oh, actually, let me do one more thing here. Let me dig that back up real quick. And I'm going to put some of the powdered eggshells on that for some grit. And then we'll bury it back up. So that's what I'm going to do for today's feeding, is just put that in there, and then I'll check on it again in say 4 or 5 days, at which point I'm sure all the blended food will be gone, and I would expect most of the unblended food to be gone by that time too. With that reburied, I'm going to go and put some more of the crushed leaves across the top of the bin. Since the worms seem to be converting this material pretty quickly, thought, hey, let's see if we can't get some more composting going on. There's a stick in here. We'll just go and bury that. With the leaves in there, I'll go ahead and wet that down. With that wetted down, I'm going to go and put my paper bag back on top. Now this thing's still pretty moist, and you can see there's little bits of castings on the top of here, so the worms must be kind of periodically coming up here and doing their thing. So that's it for this feeding, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.